Let's begin with a big focus. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European allies pressed Donald Trump on security guarantees for Kyiv as part of a peace deal with Russia. But this landmark gathering at the White House was far warmer than the last time Zelensky visited Washington and clashed with Donald Trump. Both men, though, expressed hope for three-way talks with Putin aimed at ending the war, though fraught issues like territorial lines and the presence of NATO troops in Ukraine could pose hurdles to peace. But even as the European leaders heaped praise on Trump and advocated for long-term support from Washington, the US president offered only vague signals over ensuring US guarantees for Kyiv's security and also dodged questions about what exactly a deal might look like. So while European leaders backed Trump's peace push, they made one thing clear. Peace starts with standing by Ukraine. Let's just listen in to Donald Trump and Zelensky's reactions.
Thank you, President Trump. So, President Zelensky, you say in a post on X today, Russia must end this war, which it itself started. President Trump, you say President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to. Which is it?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think we're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that. I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. And I know that it might be good to have, but I can also understand strategically why, one country or the other wouldn't want it. You have a ceasefire and they rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and, maybe they don't want that. But if you look at the 6 deals that we made peace and long-term, long-running wars, I didn't do any ceasefires. I like the concept. I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made without even the mention of the words ceasefire.
President Zelensky, are you prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, we live under each day attacks. That today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support American and European partners. We will do our best for this. I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war. And we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
For a deep dive, let's go across to Priyanka Deo, who joins us live from Chicago at the moment. Priyanka, both men have expressed hope for three-way talks with Putin, but take us through the key takeaways as Trump and Zelensky met again, and this time everyone says it was way warmer, as we could see.
Well, Zelensky had no choice because the U.S. is giving hundreds of billions of dollars in aid. So he has no choice but to come, be nice, and say thank you. He repeatedly said thank you. The key takeaways here, as you said, were security guarantees, right? That took center stage. The European leaders stressed the urgent need for security assurances for Ukraine, akin to NATO's collective defense, right? So even though Ukraine remains outside of NATO's official protection umbrella, security assurances were still stressed. The second key takeaway was the U.S. being open to involvement in Ukraine's defense. The President Trump indicated that the U.S. will be involved, right, in such security arrangements, signaling a willingness to play a more active, albeit conditional role in Ukraine's protection. The third key takeaway is diplomatic momentum for peace, which has now elevated. Now, this meeting reflected a renewed momentum. Trump met Putin in the United States, in Alaska, just a few days ago on the 15th of August. And Trump has now met Zelensky again in America, right? So both meetings happened in America, which gives Trump actually a lot of acceleration, a lot of momentum. Now, Trump is reportedly paving the way for a direct meeting between Zelensky and Putin, and he duly takes credit for it, followed by a trilateral summit to negotiate peace terms. The other takeaway that I found from this meeting today is the warm tone that you mentioned. It actually marks a sort of improvement in relations. And I say sort of because Zelensky, if you notice, praised today's encounter as his best yet with Trump. We all know what happened last time, but this meeting indicated a significant softening compared to earlier interactions. Which sort of sets a more positive tone for future talks and perhaps compromises, right? And the last key takeaway from this meeting was a territorial dispute does remain a core obstacle. Nobody said anything about lines being marked, lines being changed. So despite diplomatic advances, core issues like territorial sovereignty remain unsolved,
Right.
with Zelensky rejecting any land concessions.
In fact, Priyanka, we're just picking up on breaking news coming in where Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz has confirmed that Zelensky and Putin are likely to meet within 2 weeks.
If he's confirmed that, it's not reached the United States yet.
Right.
Trump has not tweeted about it yet, or Trump hasn't put it on his Truth Social just yet. But if they do meet, what it actually means is that the U.S., even if the two meet, the U.S. is still in a position to position itself. Trump is in a position to position himself as a mediator, willing to engage deeply in Ukraine's security, but without the NATO commitment, right? And it's in a good position because Trump and Zelensky met, Trump and Putin also met. The meeting also sets stage, if they do meet, the meeting sets stage for high stakes diplomacy with potential peace talks involving both Putin and Zelensky, but under US auspices, even if they meet independently at this point. So while the atmosphere has warmed, the fundamental challenges of territorial integrity and credible defense guarantees is why you need the US there, right? It still stands unresolved. And I doubt that Putin and Zelensky, if they meet together, will be able to solve it. They haven't so far.
As always, Priyanka, thank you so much for joining us with the latest details and the key takeaways. We'll, of course, keep in touch with you for regular updates.